Mr. President, there are several important domestic and international matters before us that require our urgent attention, not least of which is the need to find a bipartisan path to keep the federal government open and funded within the next 3 days to prevent a national economic calamity. We have a lot of work to do. A lot of priorities vie for our attention. But today, on World Diabetes Day, I rise to address another pressing issue that I believe also requires our timely action. Mr. Chair, I want to uplift the findings of my new bipartisan white paper released today on this World Diabetes Day. It shines a light on the urgent need for Congress to finally address the high costs of insulin and pass federal legislation to cap the cost of insulin for every American who needs it. This report is issued jointly today from my office in collaboration with my partner in this work, my friend, the Republican Senator from Louisiana, John Kennedy. Senator Kennedy and I have been working to address the high cost of insulin because this is a problem that is particularly acute in our states. Over 12% of adults in my home state of Georgia, 12%, are diabetic. But in Louisiana, that number climbs to over 14%. And many of these are people who cannot afford access to this life-saving drug. This is what we hear from the people in our states, but this new report, for the first time, takes a comprehensive look to learn more about who and where these people are. And what we found in our original analysis is that there are more than 800 counties across the country where you see the tragic convergence of high rates of diabetics coupled with high rates of uninsured people. High levels of diabetes, high levels of uninsured people. And we call these insulin deserts. These insulin deserts, some 813 counties across our country, are in the top half of counties across the country for both their percentage of individuals who are uninsured and who have diabetes. Over 800 counties. And over 100 of these insulin desert counties are in my home state of Georgia. Over 75 million non-elderly people live in insulin deserts. That includes more than 12 million Americans who are uninsured. In fact, among non-elderly individuals, insulin deserts have nearly double the percentage of uninsured residents as those who live in non-deserts. And so our analysis shows these insulin deserts are concentrated in the South and the Southeast. But it also shows that there are insulin deserts all over the country, concentrated in the South and in the Southeast, but you see them from Washington State to Texas, to North Dakota, to Florida, to New Jersey. In other words, this is a national problem.
Dear friends, this is serious news. The Biden administration has officially enacted new Medicare changes into law. But many are now criticizing this decision as millions of Americans see their health care costs now increase if action is not taken soon. Many people could begin to see their benefits affected. My dear friends, please make sure that you watch until the end of this video to hear about all of these changes. Also, friends, every Friday I will be announcing several winners for the Walmart gift card giveaway. If you would like to enter these weekly giveaways, Simply click and like several of my videos, and then comment below the keyword of each video that you watch. The more videos that you watch and then comment on, friends, the greater your chances of winning these giveaways. According to CBS News, the Biden administration's first major step towards imposing limits on the pharmacy benefit managers who act as the industry's price negotiators is backfiring. Pharmacists say that instead, it is adding to the woes of the independent drugstores it was designed to help. The so-called PBMs have long clawed back a fee from pharmacies weeks or months after they dispense a prescription. A new rule, which governs Medicare's drug problem, is set to take effect on January 1st and requires PBMs to take most of their performance fees at the time that prescriptions are filled. The clawbacks have ballooned from about $9 million in 2010 to $12.6 billion in 2021. Performance fees have also boosted Medicare patients' prescription cost at the pharmacy counter by hundreds of millions of dollars, although insurers assert that the fees enable them to charge lower premiums. The January 1st rule change was partly designed to relieve Medicare patients who often pay a fixed percentage of a drug's price as a copayment. That copay is based on the price the drug plan or PBM promises the pharmacy at the moment of sale. But the clawbacks have resulted in patients overpaying by hundreds of millions of dollars. That is because their copays at the counter ended up being a higher percentage of the drug's final pharmacy price once the performance fees were deducted. Pharmacist groups supported the Medicare rule change, but they did not anticipate the pharmacy benefit manager's response, which has been to demand they accept new contracts with draconian cuts to their payments for dispensing medicines. Seniors who are currently enrolling in Medicare plans for next year may be confused when they discover that their insurance will no longer allow them to pick up medications at their usual pharmacist. Officials say that drugstores expect to lose at least 100 customers after refusing a contract with a large pharmacy benefit manager. Some pharmacies are setting aside savings or taking out short-term loans to cover losses in the early months of next year. The unintended consequences of this rule are likely to aggravate the problems of community pharmacists who find it increasingly difficult to carry the most popular, expensive new prescriptions. The Consumer Price Index rose 3.2% for the 12 months that ended in October, down from 3.7% in September, and clocking in at the lowest annual rate since March 2021. U.S. consumer price inflation cooled more than expected after rising for the last 2 months, sending U.S. stocks sharply higher and providing a touch more solace to Americans who have dealt with painfully high prices the past 2 years. On a monthly basis, prices were unchanged for the first time since July 2022. A month before, they shot up 0.4% as gas and rent costs added upward pressure. The slowdown in both headline and core inflation are encouraging developments for the Federal Reserve, which is in the throes of a monetary tightening and rate hiking campaign to slow demand and cool inflation. But in the meantime, Americans will continue to face the dual pressures of high inflation and high interest rates. Millions of consumers have remained relatively resilient in the face of persistent inflation, spending more than economists thought and keeping the U.S. economy growing well above expectations. Americans are now piling up record credit card balances, and more are falling behind on those payments. During the third quarter, credit card balances hit a fresh high of $1.08 trillion, rising $48 billion from the prior quarter, and leaping by a record $154 billion from the year before. However, a growing number of households are having difficulty wrangling that debt, which is increasingly more costly amid an environment of persistent inflation and high interest rates. Fed researchers said the spike in households transitioning into delinquency is very surprising and unusual, given the relative strength of the economy and labor market. Well, my magnificent and most marvelous friends, that is the end of my daily stimulus update video for today. Thank you, friends, for being part of this community. To say thank you, every Friday I will be announcing several winners for the Walmart gift card giveaway. If you would like to enter these weekly giveaway, friends, please click and like several of my videos and then comment below the keyword of each video that you watch. The more videos that you comment on, friends, the greater your chances of winning these giveaways. Thank you, and have a wonderful and very blessed week.